I've talked to private soldiers and one-star generals exactly the same way for 10 years, and some officers actually hated me for it. As a troop commander, I found the best way to lead soldiers was to talk to them with the same level of respect that I would senior officers and one-star generals. Now, that doesn't mean I'm calling one-star generals mate or trying to order them around. I'm not trying to bow down and respect private soldiers, but just understanding that we're all human beings. We all have our own needs, personalities, history, etc. I use the same tone, the same language. There's no switch between the two. Obviously, always remained respectful to the senior officers. Now, the phrase that I used to use was, I'm still a man and I still need to drop my trousers to go for a shit. And so do they. Now, this reaction often split down the middle. Some officers, soldiers really respected what I had to say to them. Now, others felt it was a little bit crass, and that's no way that an officer should speak. Now, one thing, if you've listened to my last few videos, that I believe in is being authentic. So I'm going to be authentic now. I'm trying talking points again. I have a tendency to ramble on, go completely off script, and that's fine. I'm practicing, and you're here for the journey. So today's video is all about authentic leadership and how I showed up in the military, nearly a decade's worth of service, and why being authentic and being myself just genuinely helped me to resonate with people of all ranks. And if people didn't like it, well, then that's their own decision. Now, the privates and NCOs tended to trust me more because I spoke to them like a person. They weren't just a number. I actually looked them in the eye, shut my laptop, and treated them like a human being. I understood that they might have had a wife, maybe they had children, and I would be in their corner trying to fight their battle. And because they knew that, when it came to me asking them to do a little bit more, stay a little bit later, or work a little bit harder, they did it with no questions asked because I'd earned their trust. Now, let me tell you a quick story. When I was a junior captain, I had only been a captain for a year, but I got nominated to step up as an acting squadron commander. Now, this squadron was struggling. They had no officers in station. There was nearly 300 personnel split across 17 different countries. Now, the first thing I implemented to help change their culture was town halls. So I would sit down with all the private soldiers and I would just tell them, look, if you have any issues, come and speak to me. Initially, it was crickets. Now, when I sat there for 5 minutes, still silence. So I said to them, you have two options. Either A, you take me at my word, you trust me, and in 6 months' time, you could be part of a squadron that looks completely different because I will try my best to improve it. Or option B, you see me just as another officer that's coming through, you don't change anything, and you're still in the same place that you're in today. Now, let me know in the comments what option you think they took. Now, here's the answer. They started opening up, and all it took was one private soldier to start talking to me. Then on the next town hall where I had the junior NCOs in, so that's team leaders, they were in and they started talking, opening up to me. Same with the seniors and the warrant officers. And all it took was that one brave soldier to take a leap, and then the whole squadron trusted me. I opened up, direct feedback straight to me and the sergeant major. So any person could walk along the halls, scan a QR code, and give me honest feedback. And this was an absolute game changer. Now, if you want to know the third thing I implemented within the squadron to really build a cohesive team, stay until the end of the video. I just want to very quickly talk about the importance of being authentic and being yourself. If you imagine you have different versions of you, one that shows up for a senior leader, one that shows up for an employee, one that shows up when you're in the cafeteria or when you're talking to the cleaning ladies. Each version that you have to put on a front, and you need a different voice for each person that you speak to. Now, what happens if you're in the caf getting a coffee and a senior leader comes along? Then you start to get a divergence of the two different versions of you. And that doesn't work. And this is where, if you're just authentically you throughout, across the board, whether people like it or not, you don't have to hide. You don't have to pretend to be something or someone that you're not. And over time, people will know exactly where you stand. And before you even open your mouth, people will already take a guess at your views because they understand you. They understand the importance of being authentic on all fronts. So I've been out the military now for almost 2 years, working with businesses, building their health and well-being, and working closely with their executive teams. And I see this pattern showing up again and again. I'll be on a call with a HR director trying to organize a workshop, and they're talking to me peer to peer. But as soon as they're put in front of the group, they're doing an introduction, they're talking in front of a group of people, then I'm almost looking at them, unrecognizing who they are. And I can see there's a facade put in place. Maybe they have one voice in front of the board, they have a completely different tone when they're in front of the team that work below them, and the team can read it. They can see straight through it without you realizing. And that's exactly where trust starts to fall short. And it's long before you get the resignation letter. It's long before the sick leave. And I know putting on a face and a brave mask from personal experience. I've told you before, when I was in the military, the last time I burned out, I was coughing up blood and breathlessness. But while I was burning out myself, I was actually teaching a course about burnout and resilience. And when people would ask me how I was, I'd say I'm fine. I'd turn up looking good. But meanwhile, I was breathless and coughing up blood. And it all followed me even when I left the military. Even when I left the uniform behind, I had nothing to hide behind. Now, I promised you I'll tell you the final thing I implemented to help with cohesion. And I call it Tea Biscuit Thursdays. Now, one of the biggest things that everyone came back to me with was they didn't feel like they connected with the other people within their team. So what did I do? Every single fortnight, we would organize tea and biscuits or coffee and cake or snacks, whatever you want to call it. And each team would organize it each fortnight. Now, the first event that we ran, there was probably some stale biscuits and some PG tips, and about 5 people rocked up. 3 months later, so this was only halfway through my assignment as the squadron leader. 3 months later, and we already had about 30 people rocking up. They were going to Costco, buying cookies, bringing in homemade chicken wings. We even had other squadrons in the regiment asking if they could come to Cohesion Thursdays. This one small change had a lasting impact on the squadron. And it brought cohesion and overall well-being within the squadron through the roof. Now, I want to leave you with one last thing. The rank in the room never told you who someone really was. It might be telling you who you are right now, depending on who's in front of you. I want to ask you one last question. Whose voice do you use with the person who can't do anything for you? I'll see you in the next video.